Harvard just detected something circling an interstellar object that broke every rule we thought we knew about space visitors, and what they found is making scientists question whether we're actually alone. 3 months ago, astronomers spotted 3I/ATLAS racing through our solar system at 245,000 kilometers per hour. It should have been just another space rock passing through. But then Harvard's team started noticing things that didn't make sense. Things that made them publish papers suggesting this might not be natural at all. And now, one of the world's leading astrophysicists is warning that what we're seeing could change everything we understand about intelligent life in the universe. Look, I know what you're thinking. Another crazy alien theory, right? But this isn't coming from conspiracy theorists on the internet. This is Harvard University. These are the same scientists who discovered gravitational waves and mapped black holes, and they're genuinely puzzled by what they're seeing. Here's the thing about interstellar objects. We've only confirmed 3 of them visiting our solar system. The first one, Oumuamua, back in 2017, already had scientists scratching their heads because it moved in ways that didn't match any comet or asteroid we'd ever seen. Then came Borisov in 2019, which was more normal but still weird in its own ways. But 3I/ATLAS. This thing is breaking records in all the wrong ways. Its speed alone puts it in a category we've never seen before. The orbital mechanics don't add up. The chemical composition is unlike anything in our solar system. And then there are the metallic objects that Harvard detected circling around it. Think about this for a second. When you hear about something from deep space that scientists can't explain using normal physics, that's usually when we start learning something completely new about the universe. Remember when we discovered dark matter because galaxies were rotating too fast? Or when we realized the universe is expanding because distant supernovas weren't as bright as they should be? This might be one of those moments, except this time, the possibility being discussed in peer-reviewed scientific papers isn't just new physics. It's the possibility that we're looking at technology, artificial technology, from somewhere else. Let me walk you through exactly what makes 3I/ATLAS so different. Because once you see the data, you'll understand why Harvard scientists are using words like unprecedented and artificial in their research papers. First, the trajectory. When 3I/ATLAS was discovered on July 1st, 2025, by the ATLAS survey telescope in Chile, astronomers immediately noticed something strange. This object wasn't just passing through our solar system randomly. Its path placed it within 5 degrees of Earth's orbital plane. Now, space is huge. The chances of an interstellar object naturally aligning this closely with our planetary orbits? About 0.2%. That's like throwing a dart blindfolded and hitting a bullseye. But it gets weirder. As they tracked its path, they realized 3I/ATLAS would make remarkably close approaches to multiple planets. It would pass within 0.65 astronomical units of Venus, 0.19 units of Mars, and 0.36 units of Jupiter. The combined probability of all these close approaches happening by chance? About 0.005%. Dr. Avi Loeb, the Harvard theoretical physicist leading the research, put it this way in his initial analysis. These aren't coincidences you expect from a random chunk of rock drifting through space for billions of years. Then there's the size and composition issue. Initial estimates suggested 3I/ATLAS could be up to 20 kilometers in diameter. That would make it potentially 100 times larger than Oumuamua. But here's the problem. If this thing is natural and that big, it would require an absolutely massive amount of rocky material to have been ejected from its home star system. We're talking about more raw material than most planetary formation models can account for. The chemical analysis from the James Webb Space Telescope revealed something even more puzzling. 3I/ATLAS has one of the highest carbon dioxide to water ratios ever recorded in a comet. We're talking about an 8-to-1 ratio. That's 18 times higher than what we'd expect for something at its distance from the sun. This represents what scientists call a 4.5 sigma deviation from normal cometary behavior. In science, anything above 3 sigma is considered highly significant. 4.5 sigma is the kind of deviation that makes you question whether you're looking at the same type of object at all. But the real game changer came when Harvard analyzed the Hubble Space Telescope images captured on July 21st. This is where things get really interesting and where the word artificial started appearing in scientific papers. The Hubble observations revealed something that shouldn't be possible for a natural object. 3I/ATLAS appears to be generating its own light rather than simply reflecting sunlight like every other comet or asteroid we've ever studied. Dr. Loeb and his colleague Eric Keto ran detailed analysis on the brightness profile. What they found was that the nucleus itself was producing most of the observed illumination. This wasn't just reflected sunlight bouncing off ice and rock. Something inside this object was actively creating light. Now, there are natural explanations for objects glowing in space. Radioactive decay from supernova remnants, for example. But Harvard's team calculated the probability of finding enough radioactive material in interstellar space to power this kind of illumination. The numbers don't work. These materials are incredibly rare in the space between stars. This led Loeb to publish what might be the most controversial hypothesis in modern astronomy. I'm going to read you the exact quote from his research paper. Alternatively, 3I/ATLAS could be a spacecraft powered by nuclear energy, and the dust emitted from its frontal surface might be from dirt that accumulated on its surface during its interstellar travel. This cannot be ruled out, but requires better evidence to be viable. A spacecraft, powered by nuclear energy, published in a peer-reviewed scientific paper by Harvard University. But Loeb didn't stop there. Working with collaborators Adam Hibbard and Adam Crowell, he published an even more detailed analysis exploring what he calls the dark forest implications of 3/ATLAS. This is based on a concept from science fiction, but the science behind their analysis is completely serious. The dark forest hypothesis suggests that advanced civilizations stay silent and hidden to avoid detection by potentially hostile neighbors. If 3I/ATLAS is indeed artificial technology, its arrival could represent the first confirmed evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence. And according to Harvard's analysis, the timing and trajectory suggest this might not be a peaceful visit. Here's what really caught my attention in their research. They noted that 3I/ATLAS would be hidden behind the sun at perihelion, its closest approach to our star. This positioning creates optimal conditions for what they call a reverse solar orbit maneuver. This is a theoretical technique for using solar gravity to break and remain bound to the solar system rather than flying past and leaving. In other words, if something intelligent is controlling this object, it could use this hidden position behind the sun to change course and stick around in our solar system permanently, all while being completely invisible to Earth-based telescopes during the most critical part of its maneuver. The timing is also suspicious. 3I/ATLAS approaches its closest point to the sun on October 29, 2025. That's right in the middle of solar minimum, when our sun's activity is at its lowest and ground-based observation conditions are optimal for hiding things you don't want detected. Now, I know this sounds like science fiction, but let me tell you about the age analysis that makes this story even more incredible. Unlike previous interstellar visitors, 3I/ATLAS appears to originate from what astronomers call the Milky Way's thick disk. This is a region of ancient stars that formed when our galaxy was very young, long before our solar system even existed. Statistical modeling by researchers at Oxford University suggests a 2/3 probability that 3I/ATLAS is over 7 billion years old. That would make it 3 billion years older than our entire solar system. Think about that for a moment. This object could have been traveling through space since before Earth existed. If it is artificial, we're potentially looking at technology that's been operating for longer than complex life has existed on our planet. The engineering implications of something remaining functional for that length of time are staggering. The Very Large Telescope detected something else unusual in the spectroscopic analysis: atomic nickel emissions without corresponding iron signatures. This is extremely difficult to explain through conventional sublimation processes that we see in normal comets. It's almost like the object is made from materials that were refined or processed rather than formed naturally. As 3I/ATLAS moved closer to the sun, observers noticed it shift from a reddish color to green, accompanied by strong cyanide production. The carbon dioxide dominated its atmosphere, comprising 87% of the gas mass, with carbon monoxide at 9% and water at only 4%. This composition is fundamentally different from every solar system object we've studied. It's like finding a car in the middle of a forest of bicycles. The chemistry just doesn't match anything that formed in our cosmic neighborhood. But here's the part that should really grab your attention. Harvard has proposed an actual mission to find out what 3I/ATLAS really is. They've calculated that NASA's Juno spacecraft, currently orbiting Jupiter, could be redirected to intercept 3I/ATLAS with a delta V adjustment of 2.6755 kilometers per second applied on September 9, 2025. Juno would reach 3I/ATLAS at its closest approach to Jupiter on March 16, 2026. This isn't just theoretical. The spacecraft has all the instruments needed to determine once and for all whether we're looking at natural or artificial technology. Near-infrared spectrometers, magnetometers, imaging systems, everything needed to scan this object up close and personal. Think about what this means. We might be 6 months away from humanity's first close-up examination of potential extraterrestrial technology. The images and data we could get would either put this mystery to rest by showing it's a really weird natural object, or confirm that we're not alone in the universe. But here's the catch. The window for this mission is closing fast. 3I/ATLAS will pass behind the Sun during its closest approach, hidden from Earth-based observation precisely when it would be most active and potentially most revealing of its true nature. The scientific community is split. NASA and the European Space Agency maintain their classification of 3I/ATLAS as a natural comet, despite acknowledging its unusual properties. But a study signed by 20 astronomers acknowledged that while 3I/ATLAS was most likely a comet, they could not rule out the possibility that it represented alien technology. That's an unprecedented statement from mainstream astronomy. 20 professional astronomers officially saying they can't rule out alien technology. So here's where we stand. Harvard University has documented an interstellar object with characteristics that challenge every model we have for natural space debris. Its trajectory suggests intentional navigation. Its composition indicates possible artificial construction. Its behavior implies active technology rather than passive rock and ice. Whether 3I/ATLAS represents a natural marvel older than our world or evidence of intelligence among the stars, it has already changed how we think about what's possible in the universe. The research has led to new protocols for evaluating anomalous interstellar objects, including something called the Loeb scale, for classifying potentially artificial characteristics. But maybe the most important thing is this. We might actually get answers. If the Juno mission happens, if the observations during its solar approach reveal new data, if any of the ongoing analysis provides clearer evidence one way or another, we could be living through one of the most significant moments in human history, and it's happening right now. 3I/ATLAS is still out there, still moving through our solar system, still carrying its secrets from the depths of space and time. Hit subscribe if you want to see what happens when we finally figure out what this thing really is.